Derick Giwner here at DRF headquarters, along with the in-morning Matt Rose, who's suffering without Yonkers Raceway being open this week. We're here to talk about.
We got some half-mile track action though.
We do have
substitute for Yonkers Raceway.
We do. We brought in some half-mile track action to substitute. There's a really nice weekend of racing all around. In addition to what we're talking about, you have New Jersey Sire Stakes at the Meadowlands on Friday night. A couple $200,000 races, I think, with Green Shoe, the Hambletonian #1 contender. 5% rebate on DRF bets for those races. Saturday, you have the Sun Beach Somewhere and Graduate at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Sunday, Great Northeast action at Pocono and Philly, where you get 10% rebate on all wagers at those two tracks.
I hear. Pretty good.
But we're going to talk about Western Fair on Friday night. It's the $157,000 Canadian Camluck Classic with a field of 8, and worth noting that the 8 starts from the second tier.
Yeah, which is it's a strange configuration. They go 7 across with the trailer, which makes things interesting. Perhaps at the start of the race could help the trailer. Nice field assembled here. Interesting because we have 3 4-year-olds facing some elders. It looks like the morning line is pretty accurate. Done well coming off that big Confederation Cup win at Flamborough as a favorite. Ideal Jimmy, we saw him in the Levy at Yonkers. Sintra has just been a terror. The preferred field week in, week out at Mohawk Park, and Southland Amazon's just a winning machine coming from Ohio. So should be a lot of interesting early pace scenarios here, that's for sure.
Taking them one by one, top down. Number 1 is Ideal Jimmy. He's 2-1 on the morning line. Doesn't show a ton of speed on his card. A couple races where he leads, but I got to assume that Brent Holland's going to try to point him down the road. I'm assuming the game plan would just be to blast down the road from this advantageous post. For a horse that made 1 start this last year, he just had a stellar Levy show and week in and week out. Did the best he could out of the 8-hole in the final. 2 back at Yonkers, just drew away for fun after getting pressed the whole mile 51-1. He's certainly fast enough here, has the best post, and is an obvious logical contender. Number 2 is Done Well. He's your morning line favorite at 7-5, and he went down the road in the Confederation Cup, and we're going to take a look at that Confederation Cup win here, and he's on the lead, and no one's catching him.
Yeah, this Von Berg trainee faced just minimal pressure. Had a solid horse chasing him in the pocket, Jimmy Freight, but I mean, you see he puts us some urging by Dexter Dunn, and probably an easier winner than the final margin indicates in 150-2 over the Flamborough half-mile surface. So obviously that should translate well to this. The
question here is, can he get around Ideal Jimmy with Rock and Ron starting right behind?
That's the tricky part. That's the tricky part because we know Brent Holland, like you said, you got to figure he's pushing off. Could there be a quarter move? Could there be he just pushes as hard as he can and to keep Southland Amazon out and make Ideal Jimmy make Brent Holland the yield? This is the interesting thing. And you know what? When we get to our selections later on, do we decide to go with a short price horse who might be in a little bit of a tricky spot?
Number 3 is The Wall for trainer Nick Surk and driver Joe Bongiorno. Is coming off a monster effort in the Commodore Barry at Harris Philly just on Sunday, so he's coming back on short rest and 2 moves, and he was game to the wire with some nice horses.
You know what? Last year, so he's been a nice overnight horse. Entered the Levy, kind of looked like on paper he's just a fringe player, maybe filler in the Levy, pick up some checks, winning a couple of legs, making the final, and picking up a check from the 7-hole, finishing 5th in the final from a no chance spot. He's blossomed into a legit horse who is trip dependent, but he's proven when he gets a live trip, doesn't have to rough it, he will be charging at the end.
Number 4, Southwind Amazon. He's 5-1 on the morning line. I was just listening to trainer Paul Holzman on Post Time with Mike and Mike, and he kind of said, I know I don't have the best horse in there. I know there are other good ones in there, but my horse can come from on or off the pace. He's pretty versatile, and I think he's got a shot if things work his way.
He's a winning machine, like I mentioned before. 22 wins last year. He's already 9 for 14 this year, racing primarily, almost exclusively in just overnight open handicap company in Northfield. The only times really he's ever come from off the pace is when he really had no chance to leave the gate, when he's always assign the outside post, and he can come from off the pace here. And it'll be interesting what Dave Pallone does. How hard does he push off? Could he possibly clear the lead here? If not, I think he's in for too tough a trip.
The 5 Sintra 3-1 on the morning line comes down for Team Jameson's been on quite a roll. I mean, a lot of wins on the card, and last week I can't really hold against him. I lost to McWicked, right?
McWicked rolled by him late. You can't fault him for that. But I mean, he's been absolutely super in his prior starts, basically every start this year. Only question is a transition to a half-mile track where he doesn't have that much experience on the half, doesn't have a whole lot of speed, and he's where's he coming from here? 5th, maybe 6th.
In a short stretch, it's hard to pass.
Will he be too far back? Will he be stacked up with too much cover? That's the tough part, because
you can envision
know
him sitting 3 wide, 4 wide, coming off that final turn, trying to get into the race.
But you know what? Could it be too much to ask? I think it might be.
Number 6 is Rockin' Speed, 12-1 on the morning line. Shows some early speed, but he's going to have his work cut out for him here.
Yeah, one of the 3-4-year-olds in this field probably would be chasing some of the better horses or more distinguished horses in here, and having a 6-post doesn't really help. So he certainly is an outsider on the outside looking in.
The 7 starting from the far outside is Trump Nation at 10-1 on the morning line for trainer Andrew Harris. It's a horse that I really like. I can't see picking him on top in this spot because it's kind of hard to imagine the scenario where it works out. But I wouldn't be shocked if he won this race.
I would be shocked if he hit the ticket. I would be shocked if he won this race because.
I just mean if they mix it up and crazy, some things happen.
Something crazy would have to happen.
He's good enough to win the race.
He is good enough to win the race, but he's just severely handicapped by this post, and I can't see any scenario where he passes every horse in this race, which is probably what he's going to have to do.
The 8 is Rock and Ron, 5-1 on the morning line, starting from the 2nd tier behind Ideal Jimmy. I believe he won this race last year, and he looks for some.
Listen, yeah, he's a legit, nice veteran stakes caliber horse that's just kind of been okay this year. Has 0 for 7. Can he go with these? We know he can go with these. And could he trip out? He could trip out. I would say he's not automatically a toss here, that's for sure.
Well, I'm gonna do something I haven't been doing most of these videos, and that's chalking it up a little this week. I tend to go for the long shot.
1s and 2s circled.
I have all the 1s and 2s. Listen, I just don't see how you get around Ideal Jimmy or Done Well in this spot. I mean, I think they drew the inside. They both have early speed. It's a track that favors early speed. It's a track with a short stretch. I just don't see how you get by these two. If you force me to pick one, I'm picking Done Well on top. I think he's just been a little sharper. He's come out guns a-blazing, so to speak, for trainer Ron Burke this year, and I just think he gets the job done here. And I'm quite frankly, I am really looking at a 2-1 exacta. It's probably going to be paying like $7.
You know what? There's going to be action. They're going to be mixing it up. If Ideal Jimmy Brent Holland tries to go down the road, he's going to get tested most of the mile. It's not going to be like other race scenarios where, okay, they're going to line up and they're going to go a 31-second quarter. I don't think that's happening at all. But I'm in agreement. I got to look to the inside speed, the inside sharp speed. Ideal Jimmy has proven himself after whatever ailed him last year with 1 start. He's made 17 starts this year and has been super in probably 16 out of those 17 starts. As long as he's not overused, I like him in this spot. I just Sintra obviously is a legit horse. Like I said, I just can't see him reaching a horse like the Wall. Where's he going to be? If he might he might end up having to be first over. The key might be with Southland Amazon. How hard does Dave Pallone push off? If he doesn't push off, or they can stuff him in behind, I'm kind of with you with an inside number, but I will go with Ideal Jimmy on top.
This race has a $10,000 guaranteed super high 5 pool, and I'm going to be using the 7 Trump Nation in there somewhere.
I know you want to squeeze him in.
Not on top, but I'm using my 2nd spot a little bit, 3rd spot a little bit. It's also the final leg of a $15,000 guaranteed pick forward. It starts in race 9. It's a good card at Western Fair on Friday night with a lot of Ontario Sire Stakes action, I think City of London finals, and of course the Camluck Classic. Good luck.
Always a fun race, Camluck Classic.
Go get him. Good luck.